Decoding the Future of AI. Welcome to AI Perspective. Remember when Donald Trump distanced himself from Project 2025? Said he had nothing to do with it? Well, it turns out that was just another misleading statement. If you've been paying attention, Donald Trump has been following it almost line by line. But here's the kicker. If he's using a publicly available playbook, can't we just read ahead and see what he's going to do next? And that's exactly what we're doing today. I'm going to ask an advanced AI to dissect Project 2025 and reveal how much Trump has already implemented. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. In the second half, we'll dive into what hasn't happened yet, and the AI will predict Trump's next moves, straight out of the project itself. But before we get to that, a quick reminder. If you want to support the channel, hit that like button and subscribe right now. I know it sounds like a broken record. But YouTube stats prove most people don't actually do it unless I ask. So, yes, it really does help, and that's why I've got to say it every single time. Thanks in advance. And now, a word from today's sponsor. Did you know that some AIs block your requests the moment you mention certain topics, or that you can't even generate the images you want? That's how it goes with most platforms, but never with Venice AI, the sponsor of today's video. As you can see, the request went through. Venice AI doesn't hold you back. It's a private AI that runs right in your browser. No tracking, no filters, and no one watching what you type. You can ask anything and actually get a response. No data collection, no censorship, and no random blocks just because your prompt was too sensitive. Go pro, and you unlock even more. You can upload PDFs, get fast summaries, adjust how the AI responds, and disable safe mode completely. Everything just works. No blocked prompts, no hidden restrictions. And the AI characters? Honestly, there's something else. Each one has a different personality. Some smart, some unfiltered, and some surprisingly real. You'll get it once you try it. So, if you're looking for AI without restrictions, use my link, ven.ai ASCII and the code ASCII to get 20% off a pro plan. Or just scan the QR code and start exploring with no limits. Big thanks to Venice AI for supporting the channel. And here we are. I'm now using the deep research feature so the AI can analyze the entire Project 2025 document in detail. Once that's done, I'll move on to our first question. As always, it asks for a quick clarification first, which I'll provide. The research takes about 20 minutes, so I'll just skip ahead. All right, it's done. And now we can get started. ChatGPT needs to be clear, straightforward, unbiased. You can see the rest in the prompt. First up, I want to know what parts of Project 2025 has Donald Trump already put into action. Let's break it down in detail. And here it is. Trump has moved fast and hard on a lot of Project 2025. This isn't just random policy chaos. It's a mapped-out strategy to reshape the entire U.S. government into something that works for him and his base. From the moment he stepped back into office in January 2025, almost every major move he's made has a direct connection to that document. The first major shift was the civil service purge. On day one, he signed the order to bring back Schedule F. That wasn't just a symbolic act. It was the opening move of Project 2025's top priority: dismantle the administrative state. The plan literally says to remove job protections for federal workers so they can be replaced with loyalists. And that's exactly what's happening already. Staff are getting pushed out across departments. These aren't incompetent workers. They're just not on Trump's team. The whole point is to build a federal government that serves Trump, not the public. That's not an exaggeration. That's the exact intention of the authors of this plan. Then there's immigration. This is where Trump didn't waste a single second. Right after the inauguration, he declared a national emergency and sent thousands of troops to the southern border. That's right out of Project 2025, which calls for using military personnel to support IC and frame border crossing as an invasion. He also restarted the wall, but that's just the visible part. The deeper change is in policy. He's already cut off nearly all access to asylum again. Something the project proposed in plain language: end abuse of asylum. and make the process so tight that almost no one qualifies. Then he signed an executive order that denies birthright citizenship to children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants or people here on temporary visas. That's a direct challenge to the 14th Amendment, and it's not some wild Trump idea. It's page 52 of Project 2025, which calls to end the unconstitutional practice of birthright citizenship. He's not hiding the source, he's just testing how far he can take it. Over at the Justice Department, the Purge has been just as aggressive. He removed the FBI director and installed a new attorney general known more for political loyalty than legal skill. Project 2025 didn't just suggest this. It demands the DOJ be reoriented to reflect conservative values. One of its goals is to flip the Civil Rights Division so it goes after anti-Christian and anti-white discrimination. Trump's DOJ is already shifting focus away from protecting minorities and instead investigating diversity programs like they're some kind of crime. It sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly the logic of the project. Use the law to reverse the cultural shift of the past 50 years. Education's next. Trump signed an order in March to start dismantling the Department of Education, fired over 1,000 employees, and transferred student loan management to other agencies. Project 2025 says straight up, shut down the Department of Education and return power to the states. He's doing it piece by piece, not with one big explosion. Title I programs, which help fund schools in poor areas, are being stripped. Why? Because the plan says to stop giving federal money to public schools that don't comply with conservative values. That's happening. And it's not about school quality. It's about control. On LGBTQ+ rights, the shift has been brutal. Trump signed an order forcing all federal agencies to define gender as male or female based only on biology at birth. You can't get your gender recognized by the government anymore if you're trans. No accurate ID, no workplace protections, no rights in healthcare or prisons. Project 2025's wording is crystal clear. Restore the traditional legal understanding of sex. And Trump followed it like it was written for him personally. He also told schools that if they don't enforce this rule, bathrooms, sports teams, all of it, they'll lose federal funding. That's again directly from the blueprint. Strip money from schools that promote gender ideology. He pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement again and declared a national energy emergency to block clean energy projects. He's already cut off funding for wind and solar and greenlit new oil leases on federal land. Project 2025 is clear on this too. End the war on fossil fuels and treat traditional energy as patriotic. Climate science scrubbed from agency websites. EPA authority stripped. This isn't accidental. This is a deliberate rollback of everything that hints at environmental responsibility. Voting rights are already under attack. Trump signed an order demanding states purge their voter rolls, require proof of citizenship to vote, and ban any federal agency from coordinating with social media on misinformation. Project 2025 outlines all of these steps in its election integrity section, even though what it really means is voter suppression. These moves don't just affect red states, they set the standard for the whole country. It's about shrinking the electorate in a way that hurts younger voters, immigrants, and people of color, the voters Trump fears the most. And while he claims to be defending free speech, the opposite is true. His order to ban federal officials from working with tech platforms to flag misinformation has already tied the hands of public health agencies and election boards. Project 2025 said the government should not be allowed to pressure or partner with tech companies, even to fight disinformation. Sounds like a freedom move until you realize it opens the floodgates for lies, chaos, and conspiracies. That helps Trump, and that's the whole point. So, yes, Trump hasn't just checked a few boxes from Project 2025. He's following it like a manual, using executive orders, regulatory changes, and personnel purges to reshape the U.S. government from the inside. This is what it looks like when a president returns to office not just with power, but with a plan to never let it go again. And the scary part? He's just getting started. Alright, hold on, ChatGPT. People are already saying that you're all about fear-mongering. It sounds crazy, but let's just see what might actually be coming. Up next, I'm going to ask it to check what's left in the project and walk us through what Donald Trump's next steps might be. And since we've got just one question left, don't waste this little pause. Double check right now that you're subscribed to the channel. I post new videos every couple of days, so there may be a good chance you're going to find something that grabs you every single week. Alright, thanks a lot for that. And now, let's get to the final question. ChatGPT predicts the next steps. Okay, ChatGPT, go ahead and predict the next steps if Donald Trump keeps on following Project 2025. And here we go. If Trump keeps moving at this pace, the next wave of changes could be even more extreme. He's already knocked down the doors of civil service, immigration, education, and gender rights. The next phase is about locking in permanent control over the legal system, the states, and the public narrative. First, expect a major expansion of presidential power over federal agencies. Project 2025 wants to give the president total authority over the DOJ, FBI, Federal Reserve, CDC, all of it. This isn't theory. The plan explicitly calls for removing their independence and making them accountable only to the White House. Trump's already started with the DOJ and FBI, but next will likely be the Federal Reserve. Second, watch for the Insurrection Act to be updated or reinterpreted. The project encourages using it to deploy the military during protests or unrest. If there's a large demonstration, say in response to new abortion restrictions or an immigration raid, don't be surprised if Trump sends in troops and bypasses governors entirely. The blueprint is clear. Give the president more power to control domestic order with military force. Third, we'll likely see a mass expansion of surveillance and domestic intelligence targeting political opponents. Project 2025 wants the government to track not just criminal activity, but leftist extremism, civil unrest, and cultural subversion. That's vague on purpose. It gives them the freedom to target protesters, journalists, unions, or even teachers. Trump already believes the media is the enemy. This phase would let him build tools to monitor and punish dissent in real time. Next, expect direct federal attacks on blue states. Project 2025 says federal aid should be conditional. That means Trump could cut disaster relief, education funding, or infrastructure money from states that don't help ICE enforce his abortion rules or ban gender-affirming care. He won't need any new laws, just executive authority and agency control. California, New York, Illinois. They'll be the first to feel it. Also coming, a nationwide crackdown on birth control access. Project 2025 lumps hormonal contraception like IUDs and Plan B in with abortion drugs. If Trump's team applies the Comstock Act like they've already started doing, we could see federal bans on mailing or selling birth control pills, even in states where abortion is legal. That sounds extreme, and it is, but it's written into the playbook. On education, the next step is national school voucher programs. The idea is to let parents use public tax dollars for private or religious schooling, mostly Christian schools. Trump's already defunded programs tied to low-income public schools. The next move is to redirect those funds into voucher systems across every state. The goal is clear: weaken public education, elevate Christian conservative values, and strip power from teachers' unions. Then comes eliminating Social Security and Medicare welfare fraud. That sounds like cleaning up abuse, but Project 2025 wants to restructure eligibility, which could mean millions losing access if they're labeled able-bodied or non-compliant. Trump says he won't touch Social Security, but the plan says otherwise. If he follows it, seniors and disabled Americans will feel it. And if he gets the political momentum, he'll push new national voting restrictions. Project 2025 recommends a proof of citizenship requirement, paper-only ballots, voter roll purges, and even changes to early voting rules. These would suppress turnout in swing states. Most of it won't come through Congress. It'll come through federal guidelines, DOJ threats, and election board pressure. And finally, don't forget foreign policy. Trump has already pulled the U.S. out of major international agreements like the Paris Agreement, the World Health Organization, and the UN Human Rights Council. What's next? Leaving NATO isn't off the table. Project 2025 calls for rethinking foreign alliances that don't offer immediate economic value to the U.S. It's not about shared values anymore. It's about transactional nationalism. If NATO doesn't play by his rules, he'll walk, and that would shift the global balance overnight. So, what's next if Trump keeps following Project 2025? We'll likely see federal takeover of monetary policy, military forces against protests, mass surveillance of political opponents, funding threats to blue states, attacks on contraception, national school vouchers, cuts to Social Security and/or Medicare access, voter suppression through new federal standards, and possibly leaving NATO. And this isn't alarmism. It's in the document. The only question now is how far he'll go and how fast. Because if the first 100 days are any sign, the rest is coming sooner than people think. And that's it. ChatGPT went pretty deep today. But honestly, I do have some doubts about things like leaving NATO. For some reason, it just doesn't feel like it would be that catastrophic. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm being naive. And for those of you who support Donald Trump and Project 2025, I know you're here. And yes, some of you even subscribe to the channel for some bizarre reason. But tell me in the comments why you think that we're wrong. Now, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and check out the links in the description if you want to support the channel directly. After that, click on the next video where I actually asked AI how to stop Trump, and it gave a surprisingly solid plan. Thanks for watching. Click on that next video, and I'll be waiting for you there in just a moment.